What? Oh, hey. Hi there. My name is Producer Vic, and I'm, the one who gets the seltzers and makes sure that the microphones is cleans. I am the producer of the Busy Dads Do Sci-Fi, and tonight the boys are gonna be talking about High Life. High Life is starring Robert Patinson from the Twilight movies. He's got even prettier, nicer hair than George does, and that's pretty rare. So, please sit back, relax, go for a walk, take a nap, and enjoy.
Busy daddies, busy daddies, busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies, busy daddies, busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies, busy daddies, busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies, busy daddies, busy daddies do sci-fi.
3, 2,
Two,
1.
one.
Fuck box.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages.
Children.
Of all ages.
Yes.
Hopefully older than the age of reason. But come on in, try version 2.0 of the fuck box. Are you tired of doing your fucking outside where people can see you?
Hey, we don't socially do that anymore.
No. Gotta stay at least 6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of room for the Holy Ghost. Multiple Holy Ghosts.
Many Holy Ghosts.
Yeah, the holiest of
Yeah.
ghosts.
A lot of ghost pipe even.
Ghost 6 feet worth. All right, between back in the day, those Holy Ghosts they were built like Julia Binoche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
French.
did you just crop dust the fuck box, man? That ain't cool.
You just walk right past the crowd. Got to do what you got to do. All right, we're in space. What am I supposed to do? Take it outside?
Yeah.
Man.
Oh. Go to
Have
the
you ever-
vacuum tube.
You ever toyed with the idea that maybe we are in space?
We are.
Right? That's what they taught. That's what they say. Every once in a while, you hear someone say, "We are all travelers on spaceship Earth."
Do you know where that comes from?
That's a Carl Sagan bit, right?
I thought it's Buckminster Fuller.
Oh, is it? I did
Yeah.
not know that.
He has a
think,
book.
Sagan stole everything from Buckminster Fuller.
Sagan, yeah, total fraud, man.
Total hack.
Millions
hack.
upon millions.
Monotone bowl haircut hack.
Yeah,
That guy.
science, science.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Don't need science when you got a fuck box, Kevin.
Mm-hmm. And God.
Fuck box and God. Well, that's where
I mean-
that's where you find God.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about love. It's all about love for a machine, love for yourself, and love for your fellow man, regardless of their
wipe
crimes.
before you leave.
Please do.
It's like a gym machine, man.
There will be some sort. In the first Iron Man movie, he talks about how his artificial heart creates a bioorganic residue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was in those scenes in the movie we're going to be talking about. That's kind of what I felt was going on. Like, that thing is so high tech that it actually creates this like bioorganic residue in the process of providing you with the necessary pleasure to not murder your crewmates.
It kind of had a Naked Lunch vibe too. Just the mugwump just being like, here, if you dump enough of this on your typewriter, you'll do better stories. Just, ooh.
Why did I not make that connection in the moment? That's dead on. Yeah.
Mugwump.
Lunch is we haven't talked about that. That's a interesting
That's a good one
of itself, man.
But listener, we've got a lot on deck here.
Are we gonna? It's gonna be a good podcast. Are we gonna hate each other here?
Well, I was just talking about the future.
Oh, the footer.
Yeah. Tonight, I don't know.
The opposite of the header, the footer.
The footer. We this could be a BDDSF SmackDown, but I'm not sure. That was our older selves. I don't know if we can even have a SmackDown anymore.
That's all Vol 1.
Yeah, but maybe the essence of a SmackDown is here. But the more mature Vol 2 dads will bring something different to the table.
We'll do a crack up instead of a SmackDown.
Crack up.
I'm all about opposites tonight. You know, I'm all about just like I'm all about thinking things are going to go one way, being told they're going to go one way, and then maybe finding out, oh, ain't going to go that way.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe even being under the understanding that something you're going to watch is about one subject matter, sitting down with a LaCroix and a bowl of popcorn, finding out you're in for a journey. You're in for a journey you weren't expecting, pal.
This is more of a cut a hole in a box of popcorn kind of movie.
That's my fuck box.
Hey, you want to pour some Raisinets in there too?
Not
sure.
too salty. It's like let's tone it down on the sodium chloride on this one, man. I don't need to. I'm not a young man anymore.
No.
Kevin, I don't need that chafing. So,
nope.
I will say this.
What? That in space, no one can hear you chafe?
No one can. Well, depends on how close they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. That I was never ever called the title of this movie by a librarian in Boston. But I was called the exact opposite of the title of this movie.
Is this for taking the periodicals into the restroom?
Is that a euphemism, or are you specifically talking about newspapers? I'll be right back with this newspaper. I got to go take a periodical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, the fuck box can really be anything you want it to be.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard they discovered a monolith in the desert in Utah?
You know, I actually didn't click on that because I thought it was there to give my phone a virus.
It probably is. Everything is nowadays. But giant, silver, 25 feet tall monolith in the middle of the Utah desert. No idea.
Oaks. Man-made.
Fake news.
Yeah,
I see that.
I saw it. Say more about that, George.
I see that. First thing that comes to mind, that's somebody's fuck box.
I think that's somebody's 2001.
You think somebody's orchestrating a little 2001 thing there?
Yeah. Which it's gonna go well with a shade of me as I journeyed through this movie we're gonna talk to tonight.
Well, that's really interesting. Because, all right, so, you know, you could say, and have it not be controversial, that there's a standard when you're approaching this type of science fiction film. You know, that 2001 is essentially the mark, right? You know, I mean, you could, not to say, hey, we're trying to make 2001 here, but when you think of heady sci-fi, you pretty much think of 2001. You think of bigger ideas in science fiction that aren't straightforward, you know, first act, second act, third act stories. You think of 2001. You know?
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, it almost does movies a little bit of a disservice because you sort of like, well, you can't ever be that. Can't ever get that good.
Yes, that's the shade of me.
That's the shade. That's the shade that you're going to be indulging in here.
Indulging, yeah.
Ooh,
well, I think I just thought of it.
Yeah, we'll indulge a little
You
shade.
didn't make it sound as cool, so I don't know anymore.
I thought that sounded really cool.
But it's done. It's
Wrap
been
it up,
said.
kids.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
But what did that lady call you back in Boston in the 90s?
That was late 90s, 99.
Late 90s.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Well, I was at a party, and that should really, if you knew me in 1999, that should pretty much be enough said right there.
Well, I mean, think about how you were partying then.
She looked at me, and I had an amazing goatee at the time, and I wore white socks up to about my knees. And she said, "You are a lowlife."
A low life?
Yeah.
What had you done?
I in the interest of the children who are listening.
Oh, the wee little fuck boxers?
The wee little fuck boxers, I mean, I think we've only dropped enough F-bombs right now to get an R and not a hard R. So I'm not going to get into the amount of money that I may or may not have stolen from this woman's roommate at
Yeah. What? Why did she should have just minded her own business.
Right? I wouldn't have done that had I not needed it.
What did you do with that money? Was there another life you were living?
I was, I was doing certain things. I was getting a little high with that money, Kevin. Huh? So you basically say that this low life was living the high life.
The ha ha ha.
Oh yeah, that was nothing but a party all the time, crying in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Shaving my beard with a discarded razor blade and keeping it in a canister, so I could track the number of days that went by. This is real high life stuff, is what I'm talking about. Yeah. See that right there? That's how you master a segue.
Well, yep.
Yeah. Because as you may not know, or you may know, I don't know how prepared you are, we're going to be talking about high life.
Who, me?
Oh, yeah.
I knew that.
Well,
them. Sorry. Listeners. Yeah.
We're talking about a movie called The High Life. Not The High Life, High Life. The High Life is also, that's the champagne of beers.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Pretty ballsy to put that on a beer bottle.
But I get it. There was something like a Miller High Life when it got a little warmer, like changed almost into like, am I drinking like a weird hard liquor now? I'm still in. Can't wait to get to another cold one, but I got to get through this one.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not bailing anytime soon. Yeah. Yeah, those things used to go down like water. I mean, that was just the Miller High Life decade. But High Life, starring Robert Pattinson, directed by
Robert Patinson.
Mm-hmm. He's had a rough go of it. A lot of people, he was in those Twilight movies, and he seemed to get written off. You saw Rover with Guy Pearce?
Is that his other sci-fi?
No, Rover was a while ago. Rover is Adam.
Oh, yes.
God bless his space-based soul.
Mm-hmm.
He told us to watch Rover, Australian post-apocalyptic dystopian whole, guy in a car movie. And Robert Pattinson is in that as a teenager with developmental issues. And he's great. He's freaking great. And he's playing Batman in the next Batman movie.
Yes.
Which kind of looks awesome. But so he's in this. And then who's it directed by? Claire
Lemon,
who
directed something French.
Claire Denis, Claire Dunlama,
Claire Freedom
Fries.
Claire Freedom Fries.
She directed Chocolat,
which is freedom in Spanish.
In Espanol. Chocolat. This is the 1988 Chocolat, which is about loving a black man, and not the 2000 Chocolat, which is about chocolat.
Or like Water for Chocolat,
Low Water
which is
for
about loving
Chocolat,
chocolate.
or Eat, Pray, Love, Chocolat. Yeah, I'm willing
Which
to
is
bet there's
about-
probably about 40 French movies called Chocolat.
Food addiction. Eat, Pray, Love Chocolat.
Yeah. Love chocolate. So I thought that this movie
Yeah.
I thought this movie was going to be 2 hours. I saw the runtime. I'm like, okay, let's crank this out. Thought it was going to be 2 hours of Robert Pattinson raising a baby in space. Listener, this was not what this movie was.
No.
Yeah.
This
All right.
movie is file down a screwdriver and keep it under your mattress until you want to get laid.
It's it's brutal. There's some brutality. There is the premise, if you go by, what pops up on screen, does say like an astronaut, his name is Dante, and his
Monty.
daughter. What
Is it Monty?
Is it Monty or Dante? Is it Monty?
I don't know. Monty Dante.
Monty Dante, who's a character in Inferno, I believe.
Yeah.
So Monty Dante and his daughter Pillow are circling a black hole in a little spaceship, and that's where we join him. He's taking care of normal spaceman duties, putting a shield on the exterior, doing a spacewalk, and then his daughter's inside crying. And that's the universe that we step into. And then what follows, Kevin?
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey.
Where's why don't you pick up on the ... on the rest of that?
Well, so I just realized why the wrench he had fell down instead of floated in space, and probably why the other things sort of fell down.
They're
dropping into a black hole, maybe?
They're circling a beehole.
Circling. Is this the second time in 1 week we've been all around the hole?
Last time you brought it up, so it doesn't really count. All right? You keep your distance. Everyone knows it's Space 101. You keep your distance from a beehole. Nobody wants that.
Oh, man.
It's not even, we haven't even gotten started yet.
The cool stuff, we start to get scenes of Earth, which, since you've only seen Dude and his toddler, if that, just barely starting to walk, there are some Earth flashbacks, which gave me that Solaris sort of feel. Literally like sunny, cold days in foreign woods, which is Solaris Earth scenes. But anyways, just something organic, something back there. And at that point, I'm like, I got to have something to tie me down to Earth here while I watch this long space Voyager. But that ship he's in is kind of wrecked up for a dad who seems pretty on his game, and that baby is kind of like it homemade clothes with a homemade doll, and there's some things that probably aren't really right around here. We start to see.
Yeah, we very quickly get treated to. So Robert Pattinson, Dante Monte in space with his daughter is a very small part of this movie, and at least with the baby. I thought maybe we were going to be doing a little bit of like breaking the fourth wall and him looking at the camera like, kids, right? while he's trying to. I really didn't know. I came in with no expectations whatsoever. I didn't know anything about what this movie was going to be. We get treated to flashbacks, and we quickly discover there is a quote unquote purpose behind this mission. These are some governmental force on Earth is taking death row inmates, training them, using their expertise in whatever they have, and sending them out on missions into space. This mission is twofold. There is a doctor on board who is also a criminal. There are people who provide, utilitarian purposes for the ship. You've got a mechanic, you've got a pilot, and they are all incarcerated criminals that have been given a bit of a second chance here. And the doctor is engaged in a fertility experiment about raising children, the viability of raising children in space. And they also have a overall mission to harness the energy surrounding a black hole. There's very interesting things going on here. I really, really like the idea that they have to report their progress to an artificial intelligence every 24 hours. Otherwise, their life support is terminated. That's a cool little thing, just to make sure. It's almost like are you still watching Netflix button? Is anybody still alive up there?
Well, I think it's entirely punitive. I think they all got to know that the person who can report, who has a little chip in their fingers, got to be alive to do it, or you all die. So I thought that was because they're on a prison ship. You get you get offered a deal, and these people took the deal. Criminals can be heroes for science,
right? Which is we're again, it becomes pretty apparent that this is just another prison. There is no freedom in this. They're in in a way, sort of the ultimate prison. They're in the cold reaches of space with no connection to any other human beings other than the people that are on board. And when that does start to go south, you're essentially left with yourself. I mean, I found myself at several points wondering if Monty Dante's fate, if he'd been better off by himself, if it were me, would I have rather been by myself, or would I rather have the charge of raising a daughter? I found myself going back and forth between which of those would be.
There's a point even where you see him talk about whether it'd be easier to just drown her like a kitten. Because you've been born into space. I do like the idea of space-born people. The movie, first of all, just a little bit if you see a picture for a movie and it's a space helmet with a little bit of reflection of a horizon and some instruments, again, what could it be? And I'm glad this movie detoured from that. Because
it's like shoehorning itself, It's
but that's the weird, there must be something where you sit around and you go, well, let's let that be the picture that shows up on Netflix.
Right. There's
a astronaut's head.
There's a Steve Carell movie called Dan in Real Life, and the poster for it is him laying on a stack of pancakes, his head on a stack of pancakes.
Yeah.
And there's almost like this, oh, look how quirky this movie is, because he's using pancakes as a pillow. So, I mean, I feel like you get a little bit of that when you have a science fiction movie, and Mr. Nobody had a similar picture. And I enjoyed that movie, and I know that we diverged on that one a bit, but it's just a straight shot of his face, and it's sort of like, look how quirky and interesting I am. It's a weird direction to go nowadays. It's been done to the point where you can't really.
Well, it's also, I mean, it says a lot about how small my mind can be, because then I go, what can happen? We're on a long journey through space, seen it. Usually there's something freaky at the end, right? You're going to go through a time warp. You're going to get a Solaris ghost. I mean, what happens? The Europa report, you're going to find something there at the end. I mean, we do put horror and mystery and the metaphysical in space. And I'm wondering what else could you do?
So is there a level of, you're already kind of checked out with it's a long space journey movie?
Well, what I mean is give me something. Like I will, I like the slow meditative one. Like,
right.
What could I meditate on for this 2-hour movie? What can you bring to me? But nonetheless, this movie does really cool things. I was really happy to find out that what I do have is, crusty punk kids who were strung out on crack, who did something to end up getting a life sentence and are in space, and they're like delinquents still.
Yeah.
And they act like that. And so you've got like a juvie, like bad kid dormitory movie going on.
He even says this is reminds him of juvie. Yeah.
And so, yeah. And so it's rugged. Like it's the kind of people who can't stand being touched, even though they've been hurt with a broken nose. Someone tries to help them, they go, "Get the fuck away from me," and you're like, dude, everyone's nasty and mean and weird up here, man.
Yeah. And then appropriately so, though. You know what I mean? Nothing came across. There's even there's some stuff where Robert Pattinson is choking out a girl who's carving the wood, or he helps her at one point and he's just kind of pushing her, taking her to the doctor and everything, and all those little jolts come across as just very, very necessary and character driven. And I feel like it was because they did a pretty good job of not molding. We don't have the archaeologist and the doctor. We have a doctor, but she's not the doctor that we get in most science.
She might be the worst criminal in the gang, as a matter of fact, which she makes fun of the rest of them,
right,
by stating so.
Yeah, we don't have the normal psychopath, which is the guy who might side with the bad guy or something. We have a skeevy, super rapey, but adolescent, almost you feel a little bad for the dude,
absolutely,
given his circumstances and everything. And so we get these archetypes with a different lens on them, and it's really, really cool, and it's fostered along by the fact that Andre 3000's in the movie, and he plays this guy who just he's found this love of gardening, and the boots in the garden, and or Monty Dante, just when he shaves with the razor and he's collecting his shaving clippings. These little character moments that go so far to adding to the overall picture. And the doctor, for is the closest thing pretty much to a villain in the movie, even though she's got noble intentions apparently, but she is
but she'd kill you off if you didn't need to be in the picture anymore.
Yeah, if you got in the way, without a doubt. No.
Yeah. So there's a ton going on as I sit here and think about talking about this movie. There's all these deviations that make it wind up to be what was enjoyable and likable in the end for me. All the guys have to donate sperm to the weird fertility bitch who's evil and giving you your medicine. She doesn't like how things going on. She gives everyone a stronger dose and they pass out. One of the dudes decides not to donate his sperm anymore. And it doesn't look like he's punished. She's just like, you'll get your time. And sure enough, she drugs him and robs him of his sperm.
She's creepy. And
then impregnates one of the girls with it. And so he does have his own daughter in this movie, when we begin it.
And then, she is seemingly a little bit of a sex cultist, sort of. There's a worship aspect to it, that she's so into procreation that it's taken on a ritualistic and spiritual theme in her life, and everything she does sort of exudes some level of sensuality.
Which maybe is a little out of whack because she killed her children and her husband. So maybe she's got a little catching up to do. I don't know.
Right. And that sort of begs the question of how much of it was necessary. Did we? There's an aspect in the architecture, for lack of a better word, of this vessel, which might have been sort of a uncomfortable conversation between the engineers who put it together. But there's a fuck box. there's a box
That's
where
a
you go.
colloquial term. Colloquial.
Yeah, no, yeah. You don't just get to say that. That's my word.
Yeah.
And you go there and you exercise your sexual energy in whatever manner it is. There's a very lengthy scene involving Dr. Dibbs in the sex box, and it gets a little hairy.
Doesn't it? Well, she's got a lot of hair. Like, she's got long hair, and that's so. And obviously, so guess what this sex scene is? Not sexy.
It's not sexy. No.
Grotesque, which kind of gave me the under the skin vibe. Like, so almost music video-ish. There was like a whole part of this movie that maybe was incongruous. Though it's genius as a big sci-fi dude. We all know that a guy's got to jog in a circle and go under gravity, and they got to do mental checks, and they got to eat right, and they got to garden. Everyone knows what you have to do on a long space trip. I've never seen the imperious urge be addressed, and I think it's got a role in mental health, and I thought that was a really cool detail.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But
because otherwise you get Chris Pratt, trying to
wake up people.
Hey, murder Emma Stone.
I woke you up a little early because I like you.
Here's
what?
We're building.
The place is all ours. You've killed me.
It's like our parents went away for the weekend.
Yeah. Oh.
All right.
That listener, by the way, is a classic BDDSF episode with a movie called Life, I believe, right?
Oh, no, that was Passengers.
Oh, Passengers.
No, Life was that other piece of crap.
Life Sucks was the name of that
Life
episode.
Sucks
but
was
Passengers is a BDDSF classic.
Yeah.
But
so we
is it gratuitous or superfluous? I'm not sure.
I'd say superfluous. It really served very little purpose other than, it hit home for who she is, the type of person that she is. What ends up happening, though, is we get, and this is where I think we need to address exactly who we are, because this movie it's bleak.
It is.
We are bleak, dismal, dank science fatality.
Mm-hmm. We also could be bleak, dismal, dank science facility.
Ooh.
I could even say we are bleak, dismal, dank science fertility.
Well, it all comes about when Box Dildo Dr. Strangefuck starts to get her way.
Yep.
And
watch what you better cheek your pills or you're getting a little sperm stuck up your he-nanny.
Well, seemingly in the course of like one bad afternoon, everybody on this ship ends up dead.
Yeah, and that was cool though. It was non-linear at times.
Yeah.
We start with no one being around, so I didn't need everyone to go away in an orderly fashion.
No, and the nature of what they're accessing, I felt played with the time in an appropriate way. Time is all over the place in this movie. We get, the beginning is he's with his toddler daughter, and then we get flashbacks to him as a kid in Earth, and then we're flashbacks to him as an adult on the ship. We're all over the place. So,
and did I get this right? Our lead, Robert Patinson,
Dante
Monte, he knocked I think they're adolescents, like 13 or 14 or 16. He beats a friend over the head with a rock
Yeah.
over them seeing a dead dog. And we don't get, did you get more out of that?
I assumed that was his dog.
But it was drowned in water.
It was drowned in water. Yeah.
Like they both just found it dead. Not that she did something worth being killed about it, but he freaked out, right?
Yeah.
And killed her.
He killed her. He killed his childhood friend. And so, I mean, he'd already then been in prison for like 10 years, right? Like that is kind of what we're
right.
Or whatever amount of time. But
He's
I mean,
so young that the male figure, which we assume is him, is not even him.
Yeah.
It's played by a younger other actor, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like an adolescent juvie crime.
I thought you meant like metaphorically, which would have been beautiful and probably still true. That the Dante Monte we see in the movie is not him. You know, it's not the boy who did that. Different person.
Well, so yeah, I mean, the punchline is if you beat someone over the head with a rock when you're 16, when you're 28 or 35 and have a baby, you can actually pull that off. You're not a scumbag.
Right.
And that's the sadness, I think, of this movie. And of all those kids, mainly, whatever their society is, and it looks like our society, they look like average mess ups. One, they're one of the main girls is train hopping, and it was on drugs. And others seem of that same ilk, kind of young and disenfranchised. And so it'd be sad. Whatever this society is will send them away. And in a cool scene, in one of the Earth flashbacks, we show these kids in their life train hopping, and then we go into a car of a train where there's a reporter interviewing a scientist who's on his way to a conference to speak about how we're sending people off to their deaths, who long after he's dead, they'll still be traveling in space. And there's just this weird little dip that anchors into Earth and comments on the mission that these people are on and what our society's doing. Our ship that we join is number 7. We run into number 9 later, and we don't know really how many more are out there.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to a little bit about what we were talking about with the space helmet on the poster and the can this be 2001? What are we hoping for a movie like this to possibly deliver to us? What is it that's different? What is it that's new? What are the bigger ideas? We've had some good experiences with, like you said, meditative sci-fi, things like Stalker that really took their time, and Solaris, and this movie, I can't say it's meditative because of the level of brutality. Like, it doesn't stop to let you kind of explore the space that's in there. What it does do is it's very efficient. It delivers messages with very little dialogue, very little shown to you. And I never felt a lack. I never felt a lack of information. And that's for a pretty, like, a lot is left up to personal interpretation with this movie. A lot is left up to, the themes even you can pull out yourself. Like, you could certainly go, okay, well, we've got redemption, we've got fatherhood, we've got humanity, and we've got hopelessness, escape, all these things that, you can toss on it what you want. And this is kind of where it goes back to whether or not we're going to have a good podcast or not, because I really liked this movie. I liked it a lot. And the fact that I've been thinking about it, I saw it last night, and that I've been thinking about it all day, and it kind of stopping and examining moments in it really speaks to the quality of it, really speaks to like what it was able to convey, how it was able to both please me and displease me at the same time, because I didn't get a lot what I wanted,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's just there's just one thing I didn't want, and I think I kind of know why. Um, we get to, but we won't go there quite yet. We get another part of this movie after the crew has been killed off, and we see Dante Monte with his daughter Pillow, and she is at this point 13 or something, and they're in their ship. They've got their little groove on, and they first of all they run into another space box. Of course, in this punitive way, this ship is basically like a rectangle with rocket engines on it, and almost looks like rusted steel on the outside. And they find another ship, number 9.
Theirs is falling apart. Theirs is now, their clothes are tattered, and theirs is very slowly reaching the end of its cycle, it seems.
Yeah, and on these daily reports to keep the system going, towards that end, they're on day like 7,000, and in Earth days, there's been 64,000. I caught in his little entry. But anyways, they come up on this ship, and he says, they're not responding to communication for us, and he says something about like, well, we should try and talk to them. And the girl, who has been spaceborn and not really an Earthling, if you think about it, says why, and he goes, they might help us.
Yeah.
But she's got her groove there, and I didn't totally understand it. She must understand that things are desperate. Or not. You don't totally know if they've got their garden dialed in at this point, if it's only a matter of time. Because at that same scene, he goes, I thought we were drifters. Like almost like they've dialed in some sort of like, woo,
yeah,
we're cruising. So
yeah, I didn't get necessarily a full-on direness of the situation. There's moments, and again, really, really efficiently, there's one moment where he opens up the fridge that contains their water supply, and he pulls out one of the plastic containers of their water, and you could see it's leaking. And I took that as like, oh, well, this plastic has reached the point where now there's water leaking everywhere. Like they're losing their drinking water now. And that was actually after they go on this other ship. That other ship scene, I think was kind of one of the best in the movie, because it was kind of indicative of just like life in general, where if you're kind of searching for a purpose while watching this, what is the even their overall mission is super ambiguous. So when all of a sudden you're given another ship that looks just like theirs, there's some level of, oh, they're going to find other people, whatever it is. He pops onto the other ship, and they find that it's filled with dogs, some feral, some just trolling about, and like
some dead.
Yeah, some dead. We don't know whether or not they have whether or not there were humans on there that were taking care of them or anything. But at one point, he picks up a puppy, and he's got it in his hands. And there's a piece of me that's going, oh, he's going to bring a puppy back to his daughter right now. And he leaves it. He goes back. She asks him, why didn't you bring the puppy? It's cruel that you leave them there. He asks her how does she even know what cruelty is? She has no idea what cruelty is. And it just sort of, for me, hammered home how hopeless this whole situation is, that there is no happy resolution to Dante Monte and Pillow in space. There is not going to be a rescue mission. Han Solo's not going to show up. So then what the hell is the avenue of escape? What does escape even look like when your prison is time and space? You
Well,
know?
we know what escape looks like. Earlier, there are some pods on this ship. And earlier, the woman who has the girl, who we call Pillow, the baby's robbed from her by the doctor, who's the fertility doctor, who, though probably needs to study the baby, is still like seeing joyfully hanging out, having a kid, because she's killed her kids.
Yeah.
And they show this girl leaking her breast milk because she doesn't have a baby to drink it. This girl does have a way out. She finds the woman who's going to take the pod trip to the black hole they're nearest, because they're at one, kills her, jumps in a pod that she doesn't really know how to fly, and basically does the black hole toilet swirl, complete with exploding face into the grill of the helmet.
Gruesome. Yeah.
Which, there's parts of it. There is, every fluid is alluded to in this movie. Most graphically, I think they only show black water, which would include poopy. But it's all there. And
so that's it, right?
So suicide, right? We're gonna cap ourselves, right?
If your prison is time and space, then the only escape is exiting time and space somehow, which, it's a, again, like, this all happens in the course of, the crew deaths all happen in the course of a very quick amount of time. And all of a sudden, we're back to Dante Monte and his daughter, and her decision, I think is I liked them. I liked both of them a lot. And that's kind of where it sort of, I wanted Han Solo to show up. Not really, not emotionally, and certainly not, intellectually, but there was a part of me that just wanted some sort of bigger, better resolution, like a Band-Aid on the whole thing, Jeff Goldblum to show up and explain exactly what was going on and everything, because sometimes I just want that all that information. This is not that type of movie. And what we're given is, I believe we're given them escaping time and space, whatever the hell you want that to be.
Because they pull up to another black hole.
Yeah. They pull up into another black hole and they escape.
Get in a pod.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I said, don't ask yourself why it's a two-seater. Don't ask yourself how it could possibly be a two-seater. But I just said, shut up. You don't need to know that. The last one was a one-seater, it seemed. But anyways.
Yeah. And
they pull up.
They pull up. They fly into this black hole.
And she says she's got a feeling about this. So the non-Earthling Earthling makes me feel like they have passed on other black holes they found.
Yeah, I got that sense too.
Like, if you've got a feeling about something, it's like you got a feeling whether or not to take the 110 or go surface streets, right?
Yeah. Well, we don't even know what they hope to achieve.
Well, and that's a little bit like, maybe they've learned.
Yeah.
Maybe you had time to study and pick up. I mean, someone had to learn how to captain, unless the thing was just fully autopilot. But that defies my theory that they are black hole shopping, unless this thing was just scheduled to stop at them. But so anyways, I kind of got into a place there where I was like, what's going on? And then what I just tried to allude to earlier, and we took you through the story to get there, is that what do you do when the picture on the box shows a space helmet and you go deep into space? What's there? Well, there's a black hole. And we've seen us go through the 1969 light show, a black hole. In 2001,
Event Horizon, we've gotten the violent extra dimensional thing there,
the stretchy explosions,
the spaghetti,
and these guys go to a black hole. It almost made me, what I thought about this whole time is, like, on this Earth, do they have like sci-fi narratives? Did that Earth have like the movie Jaws?
Right.
Like, and I realized because, what Earth was it?
Yeah.
Like, when you're in 10 years of prison before you're given the choice to go on the experimental spaceship contract, like, do you think of episodes of Friends? And I don't know why I thought that, except that, like, what would you do? What if you and I were in a ship right now and faced a black hole, George? Do you think we'd be wondering, like, you think it's like colorful or painful? What are we gonna do now that we're at a black hole?
So the something that when I watch horror movies, I often think about is that in this universe, do slasher movies not exist where you do not know, do not exit the room and say, I'll be right back. Don't investigate the noise outside. Those things.
I hate to admit it. There's a really funny Geico commercial that was coming on around Halloween with a group of teens. Did you see this?
I didn't know.
They would show them in front of a haunted house, mid freak out, and they're like, oh no, we got to get out of here. And one guy's like, how about we take the running car? And it's got a motor on and the lights. And they're like, no. Let's run to the shed with the chainsaws. And they're like, all right, good idea. And they all run there, and they just show a serial killer walking up behind him with his hockey mask on, and he just shakes his head. And then it says, like, better call Geico. But it's what you're talking about.
Sponsored. We're sponsored by Geico this episode.
Yeah.
Geico. And Fuckbox. Geico brand fuck boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So we get a super short 30, 45 seconds of them bathed in yellow light, clearly no longer in the spaceship, and a very simple exchange where he says to his daughter, shall we? And she says yes.
Right.
And that's the end of the movie.
And
that in and of itself, if I could encapsulate the pause that happens when that, I'm watching it, I pause. It's both surprising, revelatory a little bit, but and then I'm just left to examine all the evidence that I've got, and some of that evidence is feeling, some of it is the actual data of what I've just seen. And I get to do what I think really good science fiction wants me to do. And that's one thing I was thinking about while I was watching this last night. I get to just kind of feel it all. I get to not necessarily get the answers I want. I just get to feel it all. And I felt like this movie got me to feel how it wanted me to feel, if that makes sense,
Which is what?
Which is just a little contemplative and just kind of searching. Like it just kind of it got me to feel like I'd seen something new, had a good experience with it, and was now willing to, like, open my horizons a little bit more towards movies that don't have traditionally good endings, bad endings, period, which was already in place to a degree, but it was a new experience, and I'm just like, I'm kind of grateful that I got to take that ride,
I'm very grateful. I would call this discussion sport, not a hill I'm going to die on or anything. But so yes, black hole trope, I understand. We can only go so far sometimes. However, here's what I've got going on in my mind. I read a ton, and I think that and I'm back in Revelation space. I talked some poor sucker into reading it, so I'm reading it again by Alistair Reynolds, and this should be the first 300 pages of a 700-page book. And these guys go find other people, and you watch them have a long relationship. Like, there are people who have thought about folks who come all the way through this and then move on. So
you mean Dante Monte and Pillow, have just made the first part of their journey.
Yeah.
And now we are in a new class of people who've also been able to break through.
Right. Just one little option. So maybe it's not Han Solo who shows up, but they find something like literally like there might be adventure for them. Again, you'd have to know an awful little about black holes to want to be like, I think this is the one. Let's fly into it, George. Right?
Yeah.
But again, they it's 7,000 days is 19 years basically. So they've been together alone. She's a teenager. That's another fluid.
He's been there for 19 years. He's been there for 5 years before she was even born. Yeah.
So black hole might be looking pretty good, and that is when it's that bleak. It's nice to see the warm yellow, like you talked about.
Yeah.
Just another little tidbit, though. There's a place called the Shroud in Revelation Space, and people have been monitoring it. It's this black gulf, which is intelligent, seemingly. One dude has gone into it and come out, and his brain scrambled. He passes on one little tidbit to someone else who can go in there. But another option, so I've seen people do this, Alistair Reynolds has written it, is you go in and you come out of the black hole, but something has transformed. And this one is just like a massive alien download that no one can really comprehend. But that, again, all the way to the black hole, that was just like page 150.
Right.
And then that character changes. I know that you can't do that in movies, but there are places out there which I think when I long for someone to twist it, I guess I've seen it. So
what I really liked was that I didn't feel the need to, every time there's a movie and they go, well, it's up to you, whatever you think. I didn't feel the need to go, I think maybe they did die. Or I didn't feel the need to go, I think maybe they were in some other realm. Or I didn't feel the need to necessarily quantify it. So I'm wondering, is it enough to end the movie with that's the end of that section? Like they're now on an adventure. Like that's it, and we have no idea what the hell it is. But
yeah. Let me ask you this. Did you watch all the credits to see if there was going to be one more scene?
I don't know if I'm just brainwashed to do that now. So I noticed the credits. The credits move both up and down, and
right.
And it maintained a starscape the entire time. So I got more like lost in just the starscape and everything. And once the credits fade, the starscape is still there. And there was a part of me I knew full well there was not going to be like Winter Soldier showing up or anything like that, going, "Hey guys, we're in the sun now," yeah. But there was a piece of me that was sort of like, there's something in here. Is there something? Is there a whisper or
Well,
so yeah, I did.
A couple of clues.
And Liam Neeson shows up.
Ken Kesey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You made it. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Who'd you say?
I said Liam Neeson.
Oh, Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Is that my daughter?
Yeah. Come to save you.
He just shoots Robert Patinson.
Pattinson.
Don't fuck with my daughter.
Don't fuck with my daughter. Come on, honey. I got the Millennium Falcon out here.
What is it that you maybe want a little bit more on it? I get it. So I wanted a little bit more, but of course I can turn the movie off. We're just talking about it.
Right.
But when this daughter is fertilized in the woman who will give birth to her, we see a galaxy scene, and it's very colorful and rosy and definitely symbolic of what we've just watched. Okay. So one might say that the same way that some of the most warmth and pleasant things we see is the consummation or conception of the girl. The final astral scenario, which is a pleasant-looking black hole, I guess, does get this warm light. So perhaps on the clues of when we get shown the astral, wasn't dark, menacing trip out, it was warm and golden. So their birth, their rebirth, their next thing, again, leaves you to go, I think they're dead, or they're somewhere else. Maybe it's just the next color pattern that any of us might go to see later.
Well, I'll say this, and I'll equate. It's a rather personal experience, and it just happened like just a few hours ago. My 4-year-old came home from daycare today, hysterically crying, saying over and over again, "I don't want to die." And,
what are they teaching those kids?
There's been like some loss recently, and he was asking about whether or not when he goes to sleep will he wake up, and I took him and just walked him around the backyard and pointed at everything and told him everything that he's going to get to watch grow and everything that he's going to get to see and all the experiences that he's going to be able to have in this house. This tree is going to grow so big. And while I was doing it, I was like, there was like Robert Pattinson was in my head. That scene of him silhouetted with the yellow light, and a lot of it was because of how peaceful it was. So, I mean, I do definitely kind of feel this like level of graduation occurred, if that makes sense, that he signed up for this mission to get another chance at life. He found that, not knowing that that's what the hell it was going to be, the raising of this daughter. And then I feel like he got, what I believe. And one thing that I said to Charlie, as he was saying, like, when I die, am I going to wake up? I said to him, I feel like that's when we do wake up, and so that's what I feel like.
What'd he say to that?
God, he's like, oh!
No! You mean like the body parts on our lawn in Halloween? Oh no! It's like
that's when we wake up, Charlie, and drink the blood of the living.
Yeah.
So tuck in, pal. All right, man.
Mm-hmm.
I know life is tough. All right, it ain't all kinky doctors and fuck boxes. Let's just let's just strap in, or whatever, or on.
Yep. Yeah.
It was a good movie, and I feel like I didn't want it to be, if that makes sense. I didn't have expectations, really. Cool.
I remember hearing that it was horrible. I remember watching it start and being like, my only little blip was this gets horrible. Not quality, but like it's gonna get bad. And
I didn't even have that. I didn't have any like, I had Baby in Space.
So it could have been the Europa Report.
I fucking thought it was going to be like Three Men and a Baby for a little bit. Like maybe it was just like Robert Pattinson walking around like, oh gosh, we gotta, pat in the butt, and then trying to, make sure the warp engines didn't flood for 2 hours. I would have gotten old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warp engines flood again.
Oh, kiddo. Let me tell you, one day you're going to take care of this ship.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it landed. They did it. Wake up. Creepy shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you did it, listener. You took the ride.
You took the ride with us, and now we've all woken up.
Mm-hmm.
And you got some hairy bushed 70s French doctor hanging over you, trying to steal your sperm.
You know what passed through my mind during that scene is like, when you're auditioning, do you get the whole script, or maybe do you get the part and then they're like, there is this like orgy of one scene that we have written in for you,
right? Hey,
and you're
Julie,
like,
come on. I feel like maybe we should talk to you before we start shooting.
like, and we're gonna need it to be real. We need you to be so physical about it that you need to be actually sweaty.
Why do you have that small kitten in your hand? No. You're going to be wearing this.
Oh,
All right. Time to button up and become part of the crew here, lady.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that
maybe that's where Robert Pattinson's beard clippings went.
Which was weird. He's talking about hygiene. He talks about one of our first things is hygiene, man. Anyways, that was a weird one. Because it was things like that, like shaving and keeping his clippings, where I'm like, I don't know. Are you gonna go crazy? Another trope. Like, are you nuts? Are you already nuts? Are you too nuts to be a dad? Like, where are you, man? And he's not. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I got that sense as well. Is like, where are we gonna? Well, and that's my own thinking, right? Like, I'm putting him in a box already. I'm kind of going, what slot is he now gonna fit in? Is he gonna be the like, I'm so busy with the ship, I can't take care of the kid type? Is he a little psycho where he's gonna be just like, so, and he ends up being none of that. It ends up, I mean, I was actually happy when we come out of the flashbacks and he's laying in bed with his teenage daughter and like telling her to get the hell out of bed, get out of here. Like, it was kind of nice. It was kind of nice to see like, oh dude, they made it, they made it. And so did we, Kevin.
So did we.
We did it, man. I've got to tell you, we've been through a lot together. Mm-hmm. We pulled this one off like nobody's business. Yeah. Nobody wanted us to do this one.
No. And so now we're just going to hold hands, and just, if you'll take the lamp nearest you and just bring it closer and closer into your eyes, it'll be like we go into the orange glow.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
And then you say, good night, Dr. Strangefuck.
Good night, Dr. Strangefuck.
Mm-hmm.
Good night.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to do like a quick bike ride, then I'll meet you in the fuck box.
Yeah. No, you got to jog 10 times around the spinny thing.
That's right. I got to punch the air.
Yeah. And water the rutabaga.
I'll get that rutabaga.
You know what I mean?
Oh, man. All right. Well, good night, Dr. Fuck Stick.
Good night.
I see what happened there. They ended it with the classic Shyamalan dang twist, where really George was Kevin's and Kevin was George. I like that. I like when there's a twist. You don't get to see the thing coming that you thought was. Hey, if you would like to get in touch with us, you can go to busydadsdosci-fi.com, or you can email us at, guess what, busydadsdosci-fi@gmail.com. It's kind of the same, only it's got a Gmail at the end of it. And, oh boy, I gotta go clear my throat, because I'm supposed to do about a 20-minute orchestral operatic performance tonight. Hope to see you there. Till next time, keep watching the skies.